What's up, ladies and gents, and welcome back to Killing Floor 2. We are back with another weekly challenge this time, and it's called Poundemonium, which means we get a whole lot of Fleshpounds. Now, obviously, once again, you have to choose the game mode weekly, then the difficulty and length is preset if you are looking for it in the server browser. Make sure you set the difficulty to either suicidal or any, same with the length. Now the perk we are going to pick is Gunslinger, and I am actually going to go into why that is. And we're playing on Nuked because, I don't know, I haven't done a video on Nuked in a while, so I think Tragic Kingdom is currently a little bit overplayed. I've done a lot of videos on that, and yeah. I think Nuked is a pretty decent map to do, so we are going to do that. And here we have our first little Fleshpound. It's not a real one, it's what they call a quarter pound. They are really not that strong, you will see later. I mean, these are the starting revolvers and you could pretty easily kill that thing, so not a very strong Zed, but obviously it's wave 1 and they do pack a little bit of a punch. So be prepared. Now why do we pick Gunslinger? Well, Gunslinger has this unique combination of extreme burst damage, which makes it very simple or very easy to take out large Zeds, and it has the speed. So if you combine these two things, it becomes very easy to kill every sort of Zed and have high survivability thanks to being able to just run from everything. We are going to see why that is important later on. Now the second thing is, Gunslinger is uniquely equipped to deal with Fleshpounds by wave 2 because he now has the centerfire. And the centerfire is incredibly strong, versatile, has a decent ammo pool, and thanks to Rack 'em Up, I mean even with Bonebreaker it is perfectly fine. You can pick Bonebreaker and have a constant damage increase, that is perfectly fine, but I find Rack 'em Up to be a little bit better, especially against large sets. And that is what we will be fighting for the most part, large sets, right? Alright.
Almost up. Vite.
And we are on fire. That is probably a shit idea. Shouldn't be doing that. Alright, wave 2 arriving. As you can see, there is really not a whole lot of Zeds arriving, only 19. That's a very low number. So the total kill count won't be too high. And I can't aim at all. I'm used to super large heads, as you know. So might take a little bit of an adjustment as we kill these two with one shot. That's always nice if you can line up shots like that. That was interesting as well. Now other perks obviously managed to do this fairly well as well. So why Gunslinger? Well, we didn't get a quarter pound. What? Now I can't showcase why this setup is so great for wave 2. Maybe on wave 3. We'll see. But yeah, the thing is you get the early centerfire and it's just great at taking out the quarter pound. It does sound wrong, quarter pounds, like what? Quarter pound? Alright. That does sound wrong, doesn't it? It is a nice mix. Now I don't think it makes it particularly hard. The boss fight is interesting, but the total amount of Zeds is so low. At least in solo. In multiplayer it is a little bit more balanced out, but these quarter pounds usually can't really break your line of defense because they're not that strong actually. Now if you're camping, if you're holding out and you have a, let's just say, less than ideal team composition, or to put it in blunt words, you have a terrible team, then the quarter pounds can easily break your line because they are charging at you. Now, you will probably see that in a second. There's one. As you can see, he is charging at me and he is doing some notable damage. So getting a lot of these early on and not being able to deal with them can pose a threat to teams if they are not prepared. So it is more important than before to have some sort of large set clearing in the early waves, because usually teams can rely on getting by with SWAT and mostly on SWAT and Commando for the early waves. Now Commando is good against the quarter pounds as well, obviously. Quarter pounds are pretty vulnerable to grenades, as regular Fleshpounds are. However, with the quarter pounds you will be noticing that they do run a lot. Now they run at you, they rage a lot automatically, and the number of them that appears can be too high to solve with grenades alone. Now, on solo difficulty, it's not really a difficulty, is it? But on solo play, Commando can easily focus them down as well. That's not a big issue. I would, however, say for multiplayer, it becomes a lot more important to have the burst damage that, say, Gunslinger can provide, and have that early on. Now, obviously having a sharpshooter or a SWAT to stun them, lock them in a place, can help out at disposing them quickly. Kind of the same way that you would go about taking out a regular Fleshpound. So having that available early on makes sense. Is it required? Not really. As I said before, they aren't that strong. Plus remember, you are like locked to suicidal difficulty. Like suicidal difficulty, a spawn rate that appears to be fairly player friendly. And a lot of husks. Whee! Ouch. A lot more afraid of these husks than I am of the quarter pound. Do you want to play Winchester Centerfire? Yeah, why not? Can do that. I did want to go into pistols, but I guess this works. Actually, I'm not going to use the Winchester, it's terrible. Might as well skip out on it if I'm not going to use it. I will use these though, these are fun. Now like I said, for a team composition, having something that can stun or freeze them early is helpful, obviously, as is with all large sets. However, really only helps so much if you get a good amount in a multiplayer game. It is very hard to stun or freeze them all, because in solo you get like 2, 3, tops 4 of them in a wave, and that's alright, but you know, you get like 15 or so in a multiplayer game and you can't freeze them all.
Break time's over. Get back to work.
So the natural fits are either having a demo take care of them early on, feeding the demo into an RPG makes some sense, the M79 is okay, and obviously the dynamite stun works, but it's also a good strategy. As you can see from that explanation, there is a ton of strategies available, and here you can see they are running even if they are not raged. And there's something running at us. Now you do have a hard time telling on the later waves if there's Fleshpounds coming towards you, like this one, or if there's Quarter Pounds coming towards you. Now an interesting thing is, at least in solo difficulty, the head health isn't very different. So the time to kill isn't too different when using the centerfire. Obviously I was unable to hit the Fleshpound, but you know,
Very nice work.
that's kind of on me, isn't it? Alright. As we approach wave 6 here,
Made it back. Don't bleed on
have a little bit of a downtime now. One thing I noticed is I have not gotten a single Scrake spawn in the few rounds that I played on this, and I experimented a little bit with this before, obviously, so I can give a pretty good opinion on it. Now, the Gunslinger pick is kind of obvious. I mean, high burst damage, high
I'm about to shut the
mobility is kind of an obvious choice. But again, you can play it with every perk. I will do videos with other perks, but
make a difference.
I like that they are doing weekly challenges which cater to perks such as Gunslinger. The headshot one was, or the large set one, was kind of catered towards that as well. The headshot only one was, well, it was debatable.
Now finish the job. Allez.
Could argue Commando was highly favored in that one. As you can see, my headshots aren't quite on point anymore, but I guess having large heads available for so long makes you a little bit more sloppy, huh? And he's dead. 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 Whole lot of dead. As you can see, the Fleshpounds don't pose much more of a threat than the Quarter Pounds on solo, so it's very interesting. I did play 2 multiplayer rounds and people did struggle against the Quarter Pounds early on. Now in the later game, once people have their whole equipment, it becomes relatively easy, because everyone has their high tier weapons and, you know, they can stun them, freeze them, railgun them to death, you know, the whole kind of game here. But in the early waves it was actually pretty interesting to see how much people struggled, and that was the wrong key. What is it? That's it.
Final choices, people. Enemies on the scope.
Now, like I said, it was very interesting to see how much people actually struggled against the Quarter Pounds. Now, why was that? What was the issue that I saw, and how can you, if you want to play this, try to prevent that? The first thing was they played like this was a regular game, so they picked their pure trash killing loadouts for the start, and really didn't worry about anything that could kill a large set, so they had to pump a lot of MP5 ammo into them, or MP7 ammo into them, because they didn't pick their regular early game picks. There was a lot of firebugs in the game I played, or in the games I played, and let's just say firebugs haven't worked out so well. I mean, they do have the heat wave and all, which can kind of keep them away a little bit, but usually you just make them flail around, so I don't think firebug is a particularly great choice for this weekly challenge. Woo! But then again, when was the last time that I truly recommended firebug, huh? Actually, I do that from time to time. Nope, 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 go away. I'm more scared of a gore fiend than I am of the Fleshpounds, that's interesting. And of the husks. Obviously I don't like husks very much at all.
Happiness is, as they say.
Spend freely.
Honestly, if they made a game where only husks spawn, that would be a lot more terrifying.
You're a little bloody.
30 husks running around behind you or some shit. Now that would be very terrifying.
Bring up the trading controls and upgrade your gear.
The Fleshpounds, as you see, if you play this solo, it is relatively easy. Now, going back to the topic of multiplayer, again, I have seen a lot of SWAT and Firebug early on, and people have been struggling with that. Now,
Start to wrap things up, as they say.
I would recommend an early game build centered around the Centrifuger. Obviously, the go-to early game large set killer is always available in the tried
I'm
and
about to shut the
true
pod.
support with double barrel. Another good idea is obviously, as always, having a berserker going quickly
Back to it, mes
into
amis.
a pulverizer. This is actually something I like, having another game mode that centers around a weapon that is really not that common lately, and the pulverizer. Ouch. Now the pulverizer is kind of a perfect fit for this kind of gameplay, because you get a lot of Fleshpounds and Poundemoniums, obviously, but they are kind of Fleshpounds, right? So, what are they vulnerable to? Well, the explosive attack of the pulverizer. So what you are going to do is you do a whole lot of explosive attacks and you win. And we win here as well. The King Fleshpound didn't stand much of a chance. But that's just in solo. In multiplayer, this guy is a beast, and I will try to record that as soon as possible. And here we have the reward, if I can just stop turning. Well, the thing I got on my face is the reward. I hope you were able to see a little bit of that as the game apparently freezes. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will enjoy this weekly mission. It should be relatively easy to finish for you. If you have trouble, try it in solo. If you feel prepared, try it in multiplayer. Sometimes you will have to carry, but again, Berserker with Pulverizer, good early game option. Gunslinger, good early game option. And obviously the tried and true support double barrel, good early game option. I hope you can do this, hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, farewell.